Hey, welcome to the Urban Knish video podcast. Today we're going to talk about Record Store Day. We're a few days after Record Store Day of 2019, spring, and we're just going to kind of look at some of the things that were available and talk about a few of the issues with Record Store Day, like the reselling of things on eBay. That's what we're going to get into today, and how badly people are getting fleeced. So, here's the Record Store Day website. Very exciting. And we could kind of see what the new trends are. The 3-inch record is the big trend. What's a 3-inch record? Well, first I could preface by saying that when you're looking at a record, the slower the speed, the lower the resolution, the less information that you get on a smaller record. So if you take an LP and you play a regular track at 33 RPM, you're getting a lower quality than you would on a 12-inch record being played at 45 RPM with maybe one or two songs on it. So now you're taking all that information and you're squeezing it down to a little tiny 3-inch record. Does that sound like something that you'd want for high fidelity? I mean, that's kind of the whole selling point of collecting. There it is, the little excellent Crosby 3-inch record player. The fact that they had to create a special record player for the little 3-inch records that they're scamming you with is just, that's the cherry on the cake here. But regardless, the whole promise and the premise of buying vinyl beyond the collectability, it's kind of cool, it's retro, is that somehow you're getting this magical higher quality sound. It's fuller, it's richer, it's warmer. Are you going to get this from a 3-inch record? Give me a break, folks. Give me a break. I mean, look at that thing. It's stupid. So I went over to DuckDuckGo, where I do my searches, and I looked at some of the Record Store Day trends. And of course, we have this 3-inch record, and Forbes is announcing, wow, here's 5 great turntables. And I talked about this in another video about how these newer record players don't hold up compared to the older ones that had better features. They were higher quality, and they're selling these crappy Newmark and Crosby tables, and then they have these new entries into the market, like the Fluence and the Yamaha's been around. Project. There's the Crosley again. Interesting. So anyway, look at the 3-inch. Now look at that little piece of crap. I mean, come on, folks. Look at this thing. They're just, they're creating a market for collectibles. They're not really selling music that you're consuming. You're not going to go around with this thing. You're not going to, if you put that thing on your desk at work, people are going to stop by and they're going to laugh at you. Let's face it. So let's go back to some of the releases that they had. There were some releases that were considered to be must-haves, let's look at them real quick. You have the John Lennon raw studio mixes. Could have easily put that out on a CD. Some of these things, Bill Evans, okay, there's not going to be a big market for that. Jeff Buckley, of course, he made one legitimate album in his life. That's something that there's a lot of fans, including myself, that are going to really be looking for this kind of stuff. Anything by a guy that died, who only made one album, people are going to be fanatical about. So they're kind of targeting that. Fleetwood Mac, Beat It to Death. You could find some of these things in any used records. You could find them in a thrift shop, like the Woodstock release. Give me a break. I mean, that's something you could pick up for $1. So look at these things. They have 4,000 copies, 5,000 copies. And now, is this really for the fans, or is this to jack up prices and aim it toward collectors who are really hungry for any rare thing? You could get this stuff on CD. Come on. Aretha Franklin, Atlantic Singles. So you're gonna get just these 45 records, and they're gonna sell it to you for some enormous price, and you'll have about enough information that you could cram onto one CD. Okay, so let's go back to eBay real quick. I wanted to look at a few things. So I kind of did a search on Record Store Day 2019. I wanted to see what was, what the people were, what these people who come in and they're not like legitimate music fans that are just taking advantage of Record Store Day and the rareness of the releases, and they buy $200 worth of records and then come back to eBay and sell them for thousands. So here we have a $4,000 record. That seems like it's totally worth it. Rolling Stones. Okay, it's signed. Keith Richards, 17. I can see something if it's actually real. Blood on the Tracks. Obviously you could find the CD anywhere. South Park, a South Park album for $500. Wow, guys, really. So here we have now. Third Man Records is based in my hometown, Detroit here, and wow. So you get a handful of 3-inch little LPs for $400. That's what they're going for. Now they're advertising it. So it's a Crosley mini turntable. Okay, with so they're selling whole sets of singles for 3-inch. Interesting. There's the Aretha Franklin. So you're getting a handful of 45s for $118. Now I know this isn't the price that they sold at your local record store, but it's not far off the mark. I mean, I bought a Ramones one for, I think it was like $70 or $80 for a small pack of 45s. And I thought, God, am I an idiot? What am I doing here with this? I mean, am I going to sit there and put 45s on one at a time and listen to one song, flip it, go through the whole thing, when I could pull out a Ramones CD and have like 20 or 30 songs on it? Come on. More of the White Stripes. There's the Woodstock. Wow, $90 for a record you could literally find anywhere. Now, of course, it's going to be beat up, but this is ridiculous, guys. They're taking advantage of people with this stuff. Look at all this. So let's go back and look at some of these must-have releases for Record Store Day. So we'll kind of pick on a couple. So I was looking at the John Lennon. Let's see. Stock Elvis Costello. 3,000. I mean, why don't they make a bigger release? Are they helping record stores with this? Are they helping fans? Or are they just creating rare things to boost up prices? Is that what we're doing? I get that you want to build the excitement and you want to get people in the stores, but a lot of people like myself, look at that stupid shit. Okay, so where was the John Lennon here? We could do a quick search. Okay, so we have John Lennon raw studio mixes. So let's kind of see what the resale market is for that. And also, I in the past I've noticed that some of these, you assume these are just like scalper types that are getting this stuff and then reselling it. But a lot of times when you click on these are record stores doing this. They're ordering extras and then putting them aside and selling them for jacked up prices. Is that cool? I mean, I don't think it is. So $41 for a vinyl record. Let's see what else we have here. Looks like that's the only one we have. Yeah, I don't know what this other stuff is here. So $41 plus shipping. For one 180 gram record. Let's see what the other ones are. Fleetwood Mac, alternative Fleetwood Mac. 12,000 copies. Well, that's a little bit more in the ballpark, I think, for the very small niche of vinyl records. Even though it is growing, it's still pretty small. Whoops, forgot an F there. Alternate Fleetwood Mac. I'm not seeing anything. Let's do this. $36. I mean, okay, let's look at this. Oh, this is Amazon. Okay, that's another thing too. Some of these releases, you can actually find them new on Amazon.com. Like, they're not really Record Store Day. One of them was Saucer Full of Secrets by Pink Floyd. Go back. It's $22. The CD is 11. So we'll go back to eBay and see how much that is. Record Store Day, Pink Floyd. What's the reselling price for that release? Saucer. Looks like there's a lot of Pink Floyd stuff here. $35, $54, $30. That's closer. I mean, if you're really loving a release like this, which I do, I could see paying $29. $60, no. $50, no. $149. Wow, they even opened it up and they want $149. Bid $194. Come on. $30. I mean, $30 seems kind of fair. You go into a record store these days and the average price is about $25. It's kind of funny because if you grew up in the 80s, a record was like $7 or $8. I know that was a long time ago, but the CDs were more like 20 at the same time. So a lot of us kids, we didn't have a lot of money for, you're buying a lot of music, so you're kind of spreading it out a little bit. So we'd think, is this a worthy purchase to buy on CD? A lot of times we'd get it on cassette or the record, and they were both around $7. That's why it's kind of funny for me now to come back when they're redoing this and they're selling them for $25, $30. It seems kind of crazy to me. So it looks like this one had a big eBay presence. So I don't know. Let's go back to the home site here. What do you think? I mean, give me some comments. Do you think that it's cool to sell records for $30 to $50 or more for a vinyl record? I mean, and do you really think that are these records being played? Are people playing these things, or are they just kind of putting them on the shelf and saying, wow, look at my gear, look at my collection? I mean, I have a pretty big collection, but these are records that I play. These are records that I love. So if there's like an artist like David Bowie or Depeche Mode, The Cure, there's so many. A lot of times, I had all these records, from the 80s and 90s, and then later on I tried to build up a little bit more in my collection. And I revere these bands. Nick Cave, Birthday Party, Dead Kennedys. So it's really cool and fun to have this stuff. But I actually do play them. In my living room, I have a setup with a, nice little area with all my records, and then on top I have the record player and a little amplifier, and I really enjoy it. I like to sit back and listen to it. I like to think that that's the whole deal with vinyl, but I wonder, are people, are they falling for these gimmicks like color vinyl, picture discs? Are they playing these things? Are the young people playing them? Or are they just buying them because they think they're cool? Maybe they display them or show their friends. And if that's really the whole thing, is that the future of listening to music? I mean, we listen, a lot of people listen to Spotify or Apple Music, and I think that's kind of the way that's kind of the holding pattern. Maybe people are finding new artists and then supporting the artist by buying vinyl. I don't have a problem with that. That's great. But this exploitative record store day where they're pumping out just a few of them and then selling them for a lot of money, I don't really think that's helpful to anyone. The consumer, the record store, anyone. The only one that seems to be making money on this is the record store day people. I had a conversation with the local record store owner, and he was telling me that, basically the margin on these things are really small. So if he's selling a record for $30 or $40 on record store day, he's only making a couple bucks from this thing. So, he feels exploited, and then a lot of times people come in and they really, they have their list, and I do this. You have your list and you really want some things. And I go in there and, people grab them up and there's nothing there. And I walk out of the store like, Jesus, I got up early. I'm standing in the cold Michigan weather, and I walk out with, maybe one or two overpriced records that I later regret, So, like I said, let me know what your comments are on all this. And do you think that the eBay reseller thing is ruining Record Store Day? People hoarding records, non-fans that are going there just to take advantage of us. And how do you think they could get around this? I think that they should have a wider release of these records, not have like 2,000 or 3,000 copies numbered. I mean, I know it seems, I don't know, you're reach for a wider audience, help the fans out a little bit, make more records. The more records you make, the less people are going to be able to go on eBay and scalp these things. So that's just one thing, but sell them at a fair market price. I don't think this is right what they're doing. So again, let me know what you think. And do you think that Record Store Day is targeting the kind of artists you want to see? A lot of it, is it going for the Generation X and older? Would you like to see younger bands? I mean, some of these are for my parents' generation: Elton John, Fleetwood Mac. Of course, everybody loves some of the great music, obviously like John Lennon. We all love John Lennon. But do you think that they should have newer bands on here? Are they just going for, the balding, overweight, white male, kind of guy? Or do you think that by selling some of these things, that they're going for a wider audience? Are people, is Al Green and Todd Rundgren something that a 25-year-old wants to hear? What do you think? Let me know. And so thank you. And if you like what I'm doing here, subscribe and have a good day.